we can only manage what we measure. And by measuring things, tracking things, we get the best results. You want the best results, right? So why are you not tracking your daily food? So, Alphas, welcome back to the show. Andy Naylor here, CEO, founder, Naylor Body Design, host of the Optimal Alpha podcast. And we're delving into another episode of really, again, this is something so fundamental. Yet, for all the people I talk to, I think this is one of the things that everybody knows they're probably supposed to be doing. And I would suggest that the vast majority of people don't do it well or don't understand the power of it. And it's simply tracking things. Measuring things. It's another really unsexy part of getting in the best physical, mental shape of your life. Tracking things. I would say it's an area that I think some people lean into this really well. Some people really like the analytical side and data side and number side, and some people completely kick back completely against it. For one of maybe three reasons. They either say that they do not have time. Time is the number one bullshit excuse for absolutely everything. If you ever hear yourself tell yourself you don't have enough time, catch yourself saying it. It's an awful excuse. We use it as a blanket excuse for everything. Just means your priorities aren't in check. Okay? People say they don't have enough time. It's too restrictive. Excuse me. And they've tried tracking before and it doesn't work. Those are the three top reasons and top excuses. All of those three are absolute bullshit. They're complete rubbish. They're utter rubbish, 100% rubbish. They're excuses and they're limiting beliefs. So we can look at tracking a whole number of things, but today let's just focus on the tracking of food. Although, if we want the very best end result, certainly in having the best ideal physique, health, longevity, wellness, all this stuff, we should be tracking as many things as we possibly can. We should be dealing with as many variables as we can. So, for example, when I prepped for my last show, which is a little while back now, but when I prepped, I would track and monitor every variable I possibly could on either a daily, well, sometimes even an hourly, but certainly a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. Just an idea of some of those things. So, calories, I'd of course be tracking my calories, and then the breakdown of calories becomes macros, and that would be per meal and per day, and eventually I'd be looking per week. I'd be tracking the amount of water I'm consuming. For me, it'd be in liters. I would be tracking the exact amount of sodium I was taking in. Now, it's an interesting one because a lot of people say they should be on a low sodium diet, which for most people is utter rubbish. Sodium is a performance enhancer, and I used to weigh out 10 grams of high quality sodium into a little bowl every day and consume it. Go and weigh out 10 grams of salt, right? See what it looks like. And then I was consuming that every day because my training level was so high, my water intake was so high, and I still probably consume roughly about that much now. Anyway, I'd weigh my sodium in grams. Meal timing, I'd be tracking my meal timing. Was it working? Was it helping with digestion? And then also actually tracking digestion itself, the quality of digestion, gas and bloating and, all the things that could come from bad digestion. I'd be tracking steps. I'd be tracking cardio, the time of cardio and the intensity of cardio. I'd be tracking my body weight in pounds, of course, progress pictures. I was also doing a 7 and a 9-point caliper set of measurements once a week in millimeters. I would track my sleep wake time, the depth, the REM, everything about sleep that I could work out that was potentially either useful to keep an eye on or not. I was tracking my stress in HRV and in perception of stress. Training performance, I was tracking my training in terms of numbers in the logbook and also the enjoyment, and also when did I need a deload? Was I regressing? Were there particular movements that needed swapping in and out? I would be tracking all of my supplementation, and I'm sure a load more stuff that I have forgotten about over the years. I would track as many things as possible. Now, is that all needed for everybody? Absolutely not. Of course not. But my goal was to get on stage and beat everybody else up there and have the best physique possible for me. So the best physique possible for me meant I needed to tick all the boxes, all of them. And that then therefore means I need to see and understand what the boxes that need ticking are. So then I need the information to get to that point, right? Hence tracking. Anyway, for today, let's just focus on food. The reason food, because I think of the tracking of everything, the tracking and monitoring and measuring of food is the single thing that can have the biggest impact. I'm not saying food has the biggest impact on a physique. It possibly can. We can argue that another day in terms of that or training. But the tracking of, I think the tracking of food is probably out in front in terms of it can have the biggest impact. So why track in the first place? We simply need consistency. Consistency is king. It's the root of all goal achievement and progress, certainly in physique development. Consistency gives us a stable platform to base our decision-making processes off. Right? Makes sense, right? So, and decisions like, well, do we need more food? Do we need less food? Do we need better food? Do we need to change our macros, change our calories? Do we need to change our meal timings? These are all important decisions that can have dramatic impact. A dramatic impact on health, physique, performance. But if you're not tracking anything, you've got no consistency. No consistency, and in fact, absolutely no information to base any sort of informed decision off. You wouldn't even have a clue what to change and when to change it because you haven't got a clue what's going on. You're essentially unconsciously incompetent at that particular point. You're basically up the creek with no paddle. So to become consistent, we need numbers. We need numbers, right? We need the black and white. And in terms of food, we need calories and macros. They are the rulers, right? Calories and macros. Listen, there's no way around this. I don't care what shit you come up with. If an optimal physique is important to you and is part of the goal, calories and macros matter. Calories more so. Macros are important. We can argue that on another day. They're both important and they're not separate. A lot of people are like, oh, I track my calories but not my macros, or I've tried one or the other. They are both, to a degree, become the same thing. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. Your macros, so your protein, your carbs, and your fats, the number of calories that come from each of those three buckets become your overall caloric intake, right? So one feeds into the other. So within reason, if you track your macros, you are by default tracking your calories, okay? Now, but the overall caloric intake on a day is probably the biggest sort of factor. Because the calories are the energy that you're putting into your body, and that determines fat gain, fat loss, muscle gain, muscle loss, physical performance, mental performance, everything, loads more. So health, longevity, wellness, all of it, okay? So regardless of what you think, if you want the best results, you must become consistent with the energy that you put into your body, and that energy being the calories. So there's only one way to become consistent. That is to track. Yeah, you can eyeball your food and you can say to me, I started tracking and now I don't need to do it anymore because I eat the same things every day. Yeah, I've heard that. The reality is over time, humans become really bad and they underestimate their caloric intake and overestimate their expenditure. Think about that. Humans, when tested, underestimate their caloric intake. Okay? So in other words, they're eating more than they thought they were, and then they overestimate their output. In other words, they didn't do as much walking and moving as they thought they did. Now, that's probably built into us on an evolutionary level to keep us alive. It's probably a mechanism that's just inside us, right? But we should be aware that that's what's happening. So track your food. And it's a lot easier than you think it is, okay? It's not that difficult. To give you some perspective, I tracked every single thing that I ate for just over 1,460 days. 1,460 days, basically 4 years. I tracked 4 years straight everything that I ate. Then I made myself stop, okay? If it were that difficult, would that have been possible? And there's people that have done way longer than that. Like that is by no means a record or me holding a flag in the air. Like, no. That's just for me, 4 years, okay? There's people that have probably done it decades. I really don't know. If it were that hard, would it have been possible? Now, at the time, I was a full-time personal trainer in a gym. I was prepping for multiple shows, and I was building this online business, okay? Here's how easy tracking your food is, okay? You need to put your food on a plate, I'm sure we agree, within reason, right? You need to put your food on a plate, in a bowl, something, okay? So you just put that something on the scale first. Bingo, that's it. There you go, that's it. There's nothing more complicated than that. You've got to put your food in a vessel. Yeah, you've got to put your food on a plate or in a bowl. So you put the plate or the bowl on the scale first. That's it. It's just one more thing on top of something else. That's it. So you then weigh the food as you put it on the plate before you eat it. And maybe you already know how much food you're supposed to be eating. So just for example, you're supposed to be eating 150 grams of chicken. Your plan tells you. Will you just then weigh out 150 grams of chicken onto the plate that's already on the scale? Oh my God, how easy do you want it? And then what happens is you weigh out that food onto the scale as you put the food onto the plate, which you need to do anyway before you eat it. And then while you're eating, so now you're sat down, theoretically, you shouldn't really be doing much else, okay? So now you're eating, and while you're taking a bite, and you maybe put your knife and fork back down so you can chew your food properly, all you do is you then get your phone and enter the numbers, the weights, into your chosen tracking app. Time is not the issue. Do not tell me that that's taken any time away from you. It's taken literally 0 time. Plate goes on scales, food goes on plate. That's no time. And while you're eating, so you're doing that anyway, you track the numbers into that. No time. Bingo, no time. I've just eradicated the whole time issue out of tracking your food. It's not a time issue. Most things aren't a time issue, but this certainly isn't. Time is not the issue. It's your commitment to your goals and yourself that have become the issue. Real talk. It's your commitment to yourself and your goals that have become the issue. Excuses or results, you choose. Excuses or results, you choose. And the thing with apps these days is you scan your food and you can save them. You can save your foods in your app. You can even save meals, so you can create a meal and save it. You can even create and save a whole day. And then all you do is you copy it over if you are eating the same thing every day. You just copy the meals over and the days over. My God, it's so easy. It literally takes no time. How much easier do you want it? You have the tools at your fingertips. All the tools are there, so use them. Move out of your own way. Have a go. Yes, it can be a little bit difficult at the start, but my goodness, isn't everything? Just because it's a little challenging and you've got to spend a few days scanning your foods in, is that the reason that you wouldn't do it? Is that how easily your resolve is broken? Really? Okay. Anyway, time is not the issue. Alphas, I interrupt this show with a simple message. This show is here to benefit you and your progression to the best version of yourself. But not only just you, it's also here to benefit the people around you, your loved ones, your friends, other alphas in your vicinity. So why not do a really cool thing today? Something that I would thank you for and maybe someone else would. Share this podcast with at least one other alpha out there who you know would benefit from it. Why not share the information, share the ability for someone else to grow? I'm sure they would thank you. I 100% would absolutely thank you. This podcast only grows by our listeners, our followers doing amazing things like giving us 5-star reviews, downloading podcasts, subscribing, and then of course sharing it with other people. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Share it with one person and of course drop us a 5-star review, download the podcast and of course subscribe. And now back to the show. Okay, so what else? You've tried tracking and it didn't work. Right. It's not the tracking of food that did not work. So you've tried I've tried tracking. I tried that. That didn't work for me. It's not the tracking that didn't work. Tracking is just math and biology, essentially. So the blame is not there. Just tracking isn't enough. Okay? You need to track with the goal of consistency. So if you're tracking in your macro graph, so your app will show you a little graph of all the foods that you're eating. If that macro graph is going up and down and looks like the skyline of New York, then it's your food adherence, your plan adherence that is the issue, not the tracking of the food. It's what you're eating that's the issue. Okay? It's the what you're tracking, not the tracking. It's the what you're tracking. That's what the issue. In fact, it's your poor adherence. And if it's your poor adherence at the issue, then the tracking has highlighted to you your poor adherence. And now, thanks to the tracking of your food, you can go fix it. So in actual fact, the tracking of your food has highlighted an area of your inconsistency and an area that you need to improve. Yay to tracking. It's just helped you focus on an area that you've got to improve. So time is not the issue, and it's not that it doesn't work for you, because it will work for everybody. So what's left? It's too restricted. Tracking is too restrictive. Bullshit. That's just a choice of a food thing. Okay? That's just a choice of food thing. And quite frankly, well, if you need to eat different foods every meal and all of the time, that's most likely leading to the poor results that you are maybe getting right now. Okay? Many people want as much variety as possible, which is actually a problem. It's a problem because it literally makes it easier to become inconsistent when we are, I need this food, then that food, and I need to go out for this meal, and I need to do this. Like the more variety, yes, there needs to be a variety in a diet, but the more variety across days and weeks, the more challenging it's naturally going to be to track it and be consistent. Okay, and because of that inconsistency. So if variety of food is your bag, then the tracking of them literally gives you more freedom to do so. Okay, so if you would like to eat more varied foods and have a shot of getting in shape, then literally tracking the damn foods is your best friend. It's literally your only route to success. In terms of what we're talking about, it's your only route to success. Because let's imagine you eat the same 3 meals every day. Chicken and rice, chicken and rice, chicken and rice, like just for ease, yeah? There, you've got a shot at it's the same couple of meat, same couple of ingredients, chicken, rice, and asparagus. Let's be crazy. So it's chicken, rice, and asparagus, right? And let's say you eyeball the same amount out every 3 meals. Okay, you've got a chance. You've got a chance because it's the same food, same amounts. You've got a chance. Now let's imagine those 3 meals are completely different. One's got whey protein, one's got oats, one's got rice, one's got potato, one's got this. Like, you haven't got a hope. You haven't got a hope. Like, there's no way I could sit there and kind of go, I've got a rough I've got a rough idea what I might be eating, but the chances are I'll be a good 20-30% out, which is not good enough. So if you want variety, tracking is literally your only route to having some sort of power over that food, some sort of ability to manage all of those different foods and still have a shot at getting in shape. You literally, if you think about it, you scan, you enter, you track, you evaluate the result, you repeat. It's as simple as that. Okay. And one real cool trick here, I say a cool trick, it really isn't, but a trick here is to scan and enter your foods into your chosen food app before you've eaten the damn foods. So if you're tracking through the day and you eat a meal and then you track it and then you realize you fucked up, well, would it not have been smarter to have, hey, put your plate on the scale and put your food on the plate and weigh it and enter it into the app and then be like, oh crap, that's going to take me over or under something. You could then make an adjustment before you've eaten the food. Once you've eaten the food, there ain't no going back. The only time you can now change that is tomorrow by changing something to try and make up for it, which you don't really want to be doing. Why not get it right on the day? So a simple trick is actually weigh and track the food just before you sit and eat it. Okay? It makes a massive difference. When it comes to this very simple but hugely impactful area, leave your limiting beliefs at the door. You do far more difficult things than this every single day, and you don't even think about them. I mean, picture driving a car. Driving a car is insanely more complex, but you probably drive somewhere and don't even think about it. You do it like a habit. You do it on autopilot. You're taking so many things into consideration when you're doing it, but you don't think about it. It's insanely more complicated than tracking food. Food adherence and tracking it can become as easy as driving a car. If you stick to it and commit to it, simply. you can have excuses or results. You can either keep telling yourself that it takes too much time, it's too restrictive, it's worked for me, it works for other people, but it doesn't work for me. You can keep saying those things, and that's absolutely fine. You crack on, keep saying them, no problem. But then don't be annoyed about the results you didn't get for the work you didn't do. You've got to, what I encourage you to overcome the limiting belief of tracking food. It's going to give you, it's going to be exactly the opposite of restrictive. Technically, it gives you freedom. If you want the result, then you need a mechanism to light up the path in front of you in terms of food, in terms of calories and macros, as geeky as that sounds. You need something to light the path. Then the numbers are the only thing that can help you get there. It's not there to take the fun out of your life. It's not there to take, the pleasure and the fun out of food, because food is important to us as humans. When we celebrate, we eat. When we commiserate, we eat. When we eat. We all love food. And the amount of people that come to me and say, oh, I can't track my food because I'm a foodie and I love my food. Yeah, don't we fucking all? I love food. Like, doesn't everybody? I mean, I'm guessing some people that maybe don't, but I think as humans, we all like food. So what, can you not like food and then not track it? Like, can't you do both? Of course you can. Of course you can. And the better you get at it, you will see results come. And I would suggest at the beginning, yeah, you probably need to be a little bit restrictive as you learn. And then as you get better, I mean, look, to put it into context, right now, I don't track my food. I don't track my food. I've just said all of that. And right now, I don't track my food. Kind of as a choice, to be honest. However, I walk around at maybe 11, 12% body fat. And I know how to manipulate my food to stay there. So while my wife Jo has been over here for a few weeks, I'd put on about 6 pounds. Okay, why? Because I was like, we're going to go and do what the hell we like, and I know that I've been overeating. I know full well I've been overeating. Then I put on 6 pounds. Okay, week and a half, that's gone. Week and a half, that 6 pounds is gone, because I just know exactly through the process of having tracked for so long and have been becoming educated and used to doing it. I know exactly what I need to do. Not roughly, I know exactly what I need to do and how. But where did that come from? The ability to do that? That only comes from experience, not guesstimation, not like throwing mud at the wall and hoping something sticks. Actual experience of having done it for so long, so precisely. I can now look at food and be like, I have a rough, I bet you I'm within 20 grams of my protein take every single day of what it needs to be without even thinking about it. But I just eat the same every day. However, I could not do what I do now in terms of my food and hold my physique where it is so relatively easily. And I don't tell you that to impress you, but to impress upon you that all the work, the groundwork, the apprenticeship that I served in those 4 years of tracking everything to within an inch of its life, it served me well, because now maybe I have risen to, I don't know what other, Jedi master tracker food, I don't know, who knows. You get to a certain point where you get to an idea of exactly what you need to do, but you will never understand that if you do not put the time, energy and effort into actually tracking your food and becoming consistent. There we go. Just some thoughts on food tracking, and I think hopefully to dispel a few myths and beliefs in maybe your own mind as to why you can't do something. Maybe start to tell yourself why you can do something and therefore enjoy the results from it. Alphas, thank you so much. Hope this has been useful. If it has been useful, as always, please share it with someone else you think might benefit. And if you want to drop us a 5-star review, I would appreciate you. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next episode.